you ready?
Yeah. Okay.
Would you like to go deeper than usual?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, in order for me to go deeper, there's going to be like one rule that I want you to focus in on, which is, well, about 3 or 4 of them, I'm going to say them. It's going to be especially important today. You don't have to believe this. You need not believe this. It's okay if you do not believe this. Everybody got it? Yeah. You don't have to accept anything that comes out of my mouth from the Course in Miracles. You don't have to accept any of it. You need not accept any of it. Some of the things that I say may be hard for you to believe. You might go, that's hard to believe. Some of the things that I say to you may startle you. Just when just when I thought I knew it all. Somebody says something that startles me. I do an exceptional job at judging myself. So I don't need you to judge me. So I'm not asking you to judge me. I'm not asking you to judge the ideas that I'm giving you. If you use the ideas, that's when you'll find out that the ideas are true. Is that fair enough? I won't know it's true until I use it. So I'm going to let the ideas show me that they are true. So today I'm going to talk about on page, if you got the books, and I got some loaner copies up here. On page 187, the section that I had given to me today was a section called the end of sickness. The end of sickness. What a powerful statement. The end of sickness. Have you ever given a serious thought to never being sick?
Yes. Yes. Perfect health.
Or believing that there could be an end to sickness, like truly an end to cancer, truly an end to leukemia, truly an end to disease. Truly, I mean, be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Do you really, in your heart, really give a lot of thought and belief to the idea that it could be a situation where there is no sickness for anyone? Sometimes it's so inspiring to me to think ideas that seem impossible. Like, it's refreshing to me, whether I know whether or not that could happen, it's refreshing to me to even have the idea of no one ever being sick. Y'all just try it on for size. It really feels better. Whether or not you think it's possible, or whether or not you think it's going to happen, it feels better. It really does. But this Course in Miracles stuff is talking about there can be an end to sickness. And it starts out in that paragraph by saying all magic is an attempt at reconciling the irreconcilable. Magic is trying to reconcile what can be reconciled. And religion is the recognition that the irreconcilable cannot be reconciled. Sickness and perfection are irreconcilable. If you're whole and complete and perfect, how can you be sick? See what I'm saying? That's irreconcilable. I am a person who's only loved, but I'm scared of every one of you all. Got a little suspicion about something with a lot of people, as well as feeling really good about people. I feel both of them. So it's irreconcilable for me to say, I'm Mr. Love and I love everybody, but I'm still holding a grievance against my father. It's crap to say I'm loving and I love everybody, and then you don't like somebody because of the color of their skin or the way they dress or the way they look or what they have. He says, the Course in Miracles says, that's irreconcilable. I can't say I'm this unlimited, abundant, infinite being and then go, I'm so broke I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. He says those things are irreconcilable, but we have a tendency to do it all the time. So the Course says, here's even something even deeper. Now don't forget I said you don't have to believe it, accept it, or welcome it. So don't get no kind of pressure on you at all, right? All right. Then it goes on to say, if God created you perfect, if that's the way you were created, and you were created perfect, then it says you are. So the Course in Miracles defines perfect as complete. The Course in Miracles has its own definitions for the terms it uses. So when it says perfect, it's not talking about some state beyond which there's no further growth. That I'm flawless in the way that I look at everything. When the Course says perfect, it says it's talking about complete. In other words, you have no missing parts. You are complete. There's nothing missing in you. We're not going to be recalled. There's nothing missing in us that would allow us to have perfect joy. There's nothing missing in you. There's nothing missing in you. There's nothing missing in you. There's nothing lacking in you. There's nothing missing in you. You aren't really broken. You aren't really broken. And your life isn't about fixing your screwed up self to the day you die. You were created, the Course in Miracles says God is love. That's one of the definitions of the Creator. It's not talking about a person in the sky arbitrarily kicking butt. Okay. We're talking about, he says we're talking about love. He says love, wow. So he says love created you perfect means love created you complete. So you were created by love and there's nothing missing in you. The challenge I have with that is I have the capacity to see myself other than that. See, that's the problem with me. Even though I just heard I'm whole and complete, I have the ability to say, guess what, Purdy? Nobody can really love you and accept you for who you really are. You're just full of patterns. Those patterns just over and over and over again. You just use different people to act out your same pattern over and over and over again. You're not as smart as you think you are. Anybody familiar with a voice like that? Am I the only one with a voice like that? Everybody that has a voice like that comes up here and then, would you raise your hand? Just for the look around the room. Let's keep them up just for a second. All right. So that means, as sweet as all these people looking here, you know that there's a maniac in every one of them.
I agree.
That voice that talks about me. That voice talks about you too. And you know what it tells me about you?
You're in
3 terms my ego says about you. It's your fault.
Oh, yeah.
My life would be better if you changed. If you treated me different. Treated me better, appreciated me more. Anybody's got a voice like that? Okay, so when you listen to that voice, you will forget that you are perfect. You will forget that there's nothing missing in you. You'll forget it. You'll actually start to think you're the screwed up person that you're telling yourself you are. And see, when I tell myself I'm screwed up, then I want to be right. So in order to be right, I got to meet some screwed up people that witness back to me how screwed up I am. So then I seek out relationships that validate the way I feel about myself, to prove the erroneous ideas I have about myself are true. I don't believe I'm enough, so I go out and have me a relationship with somebody who treats me like I'm not enough. Now I really believe I'm not really enough. So what I believe about myself is true because I have a witness reflecting it back to me. So I believe it even more. Now, while I'm carrying on this insane game of putting myself down and then getting somebody to put me down, hopefully with some good loving, at the very least, if you're going to make me miserable, give me a good orgasm. Say amen. This is not a church. This is my class. Sometimes explain it to people. They come in here and all of a sudden that church thing get hold to them and they be, without even knowing it, censoring me. Making things okay for me to say and what's not okay for me to say. Thank you for doing that. Because it gives me an opportunity to build the muscle of being myself anyway.
That's right.
How can I build that muscle other than when I put myself in situations that I could possibly be judged? How am I going to learn to get beyond being affected by somebody's judgment unless I put myself in a position to be judged so I can build that muscle? Because how can I be used by God on a much bigger stage if I can't even keep my peace on a smaller one? Right. So everybody that's in your life are there to bring up some things in you that you need to take a look at so that you can finally be happy when you let it go. The people in your life are there to trigger certain things in you to make you aware of stuff that you're hiding from yourself so that it can be released from you so that you can finally really experience the joy you deserve. So everybody that pisses you off, you ought to be grateful for. Because they keep you from fooling yourself about how nice you are. And then you meet the other people who remind you of how nice you are because they're reflecting love back to you. And then sometimes with those people you forget to say stuff like, I'm so grateful to you for what you just said to me. Thank you so much for what you just gave me. Wow, I really appreciate having you in my life. You are a wonderful, awesome being. I forgot to do stuff like that. And the Course says when you don't appreciate something, it leaves.
Yeah.
And that explained a lot of my relationships. That's the least they could have done. I knew people who I used to use to make me miserable, and they wouldn't leave. They're the cruelest ones of all. The people who stay with you and don't like you. You know, they don't enjoy you at all. You don't enjoy them. Y'all don't go nowhere. Y'all torture experts. And then you hide under that illusion of, we're gonna work it out. That's the hook that makes you stay in hell. Isn't that great? You mean you're going to try to work it out with somebody that you all are not trying to work it out with? What you mean? Y'all not doing anything to work it out. You're not setting any goals, any purposes, anything that you're going to do to get past the block that you're going through right now. You're not, still haven't changed the way you appreciate each other, taking responsibility for what's happening. You're not taking classes, workshops, meditation, self-help, personal group, anything that it would take for you to change yourself so that you all can have a more peaceful relationship. Nobody's doing that. They're just sitting around waiting for it to get better. That's a form of torture in the disguise of love. Nobody has to force you to be nice to a person that you love. Wow. So, whenever you believe you are sick, the Course says, whenever you believe that something's lacking in you, whenever you don't have peace, I'm just giving you alternative definitions of sick, the Course says that means you placed other gods before God. It means that I have made the imperfection more real to me than the perfection. I'm making the stuff that says I'm weak, that's my God, instead of the stuff that love is telling me is that I'm powerful and that I'm beautiful and that I'm whole, but I believe I'm not, and that's the other God that I'm placing before God. Whew. So I realized I was believing that my perception of myself was truer than God's. In other words, that which created me is saying, you're whole and complete. Basically, Purdy, you cool. You're really whole. You're really cool. You're loving. You're loved. You're adorable. You little chocolate scrunion, you. But then there's a part of me that I'd rather believe that says, no, I'm not enough. I can be loved. People really can't appreciate me. And the Course in Miracles are saying, that's you placing other gods before God. I went, wow, that's a different way of looking at it. In other words, my opinion of myself is stronger than the Creator's. I think my opinion is God. And everybody should bow down to the God of my opinion. So when I have an opinion, everybody ought to be like, yeah, man. I want to hear your opinion. I don't talk to a lot of people because I don't want to hear their opinions.
Thank you.
I don't want to hear what they think. And if you talk to people, they have a tendency to talk back. It's a habit. So don't talk to people that you don't want to hear what they got to say.
Thank you.
Because talking is encouragement. You know your negative friends. You know your negative relatives. You know exactly who to go to when you want criticism. You know who to go to when you want encouragement. You know exactly who those people are. You know already how you want to feel about what you're doing by who you talk to about it. If I want to feel guilty, I know it's no speed dial. I know the number to call. And if I want to feel good and free, I know exactly the friends I can tell everything to. I know exactly the friends I can't. So I know what I want to talk about who I communicate with. So the Course in Miracles is letting us know that you want to start reinforcing the ideas about yourself that you want to be true. Right? So I'm going to do it like this. Even though there's a part of me that tells me that I'm not enough, the truth is I am. Even though there's a part of me that says I don't deserve love, there's a part of me that knows I do. Now let me explain something to you that's really deep in the Course. Now the Course says there are two parts of us because we split in half in our own mind. Right? The part of us that loves and the part of us that fears. The part of us that thinks we're one with each other and the part of us that thinks we're separate and different. Okay? And there's a world that goes with each one of these ways of seeing things. So the person that's into the fearful separation, they see a world of disease, anger, death, attack, unhappiness, jealousy, insecurity, being broke, and Boston Marathon bombings. And those people who see the world through the light and through love, they see abundance and peace and joy and eternal life and every wonderful, loving, joyful, free thing that you could possibly imagine. And that's the world that they see. When you begin to try to go from a fearful perspective to a loving perspective, there's an in-between period where you go back and forth between the two perspectives. So one minute you're seeing things in a more fearful way, the next thing you're going, oh, I love everybody, everything is all the light in the world, it's just so much light, I'm drowning in it. Okay, then there's the other one that goes, bastards, get out of my way! Okay, so for a while, you'll be going back and forth between the two. Now, there was a time that the person would just be fearful all the time, so they were pretty consistent. People were consistently a challenge. People were consistently not a challenge. People were consistently kind, and people were consistently, you kind of figured the world, anything can happen to you. You know, you believe it's through who you know and your influence that you'll be taken care of. And everything seems to be pretty stable because you have a pretty solid, fearful view. Then all of a sudden you've had enough and you want to be happy, which calls for another way of looking at things. You start to learn a new way of looking at things, and you switch back and forth between the old fearful view and, wow, I'm an infinite radiant being. And so when you go back and forth between those two ways of looking at things, then there's a conflict that can become pretty acute. But that conflict that you're feeling between going back and forth between the two ways of seeing things means your spiritual sight has awakened. It actually means you're waking up. So now when I put myself down, I can just tell myself, oh, I'm just trying to put another God before God. And then I just drop it. Oh, okay, that's just my ego trying to make me think I'm not the loving, innocent being that I was created to be. Any questions? Any comments? I don't know about you, but sometimes I have to shake it off. Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I went to this weird class and there was this black man screaming and all these white folks were screaming back at him. One thing about fear, it's good for separating people from you who are afraid of you. And when people are afraid of you, who are afraid of you, separate from you, you're safer. Yes, you are. If you want to attack me and you 10 miles away, I'm a lot safer if you want to attack me and you right in front of my face. So separation to heal is good. Separation to come to the right perception is good. Getting away from each other for a minute till you cool down is the proper use of separation. I'm glad that if I don't want to be around somebody, I got a body that I can use as a getaway car. I can just get in my body and go somewhere else until I can be a more loving presence. So, now here's the trip, y'all. The next line says, God is not at war with the God of sickness you made. You are the one who is at war with the sickness and unhappiness that you've made. You're at war with your own conflict. You're at war with your own sickness. So your sickness, your unhappiness, your misery is the symbol of deciding against God. It's the symbol of deciding against love. And so you are afraid of God because you are afraid of the sickness because your God cannot be reconciled with God's will. In other words, if you attack what's upsetting you, if you attack what's making you feel weak, the Course says you're making it real to you. You're making him real to you. When I attack it, I make it real, is what he's saying. If I feel guilty about it, I'm making it real. If I attack it, I'm making it real. And he says, because I'm always attacking my sickness and giving such power to my unhappiness, I'm the one that's making it real because no one else is even aware of it until I tell them. I don't know your opinion about it. I just met this brother today. It's like, as far as I'm concerned, he's an angel. I can look at him and I didn't want to tell him what he did last night, what he did as a child, what he did 10 years ago. I cannot see his past at all. So the only place where his past is real is in his mind. So unless he creates an image of himself for me by telling me about his past, I'll keep seeing him as totally innocent. But that's what we do. You know, we have to give people the story and construct a image for them to relate to. And in most cases, it's coming from the lie and the past. So we recreate the same relationships over and over again by handing the people in our lives the same script over and over again. And I don't care how many different movie houses I go to, if they're showing Star Wars, I'm going to see the same movie. So as long as you keep giving people your ego wars, then they keep giving you the same experience, and you wonder why your relationships have the same pattern. It's a war you're having with yourself, and you're getting everybody else to be soldiers in your war against you. So the Course says if you keep attacking your weaknesses, which is your God, if you keep attacking your guilt, if you keep attacking yourself, you're making everything you're saying about yourself, he says, real to you. But if you refuse to worship your God in whatever form your God may appear to you. In other words, if you refuse to worship your fear in whatever form fear may appear to you, if you stop worshiping your guilt in whatever form your guilt may appear to you, wherever you think you see your guilt, wherever you think you see your God, then it will disappear into the nothingness in which it was made. So if I want to see something disappear, all I have to do is stop worshiping it, and worshiping it is making it my primary focus of thinking. So you're worshiping whatever you think about all day. And by worshiping it, it gets larger and larger and larger and larger. So the Course just says, if you stop worshiping it, it will disappear. If I stop worshiping my lack would disappear. If I stop worshiping my jealousy would disappear. If I stop worshiping my separation, it would disappear. He's saying, my worshiping it. I like the word worshiping instead of just the word believing. Like, no, buddy, Earl, you don't just believe what you think. You worship what you think. You bow down to the altar of your thoughts. Yeah. That's my God. The way I think it is my God. That's deep.
Would you also say that, like, the intense craving for to have it be gone would be the same thing? But it's a different kind of worshiping, but it's still the same?
Same worship. Gone.
There's some good worshiping too now. And worship and having the idea that you like your pain to be gone, your fear to be gone, the lack to be gone, that's cool worship. Now, if you give your peace away, if it's not gone, then that's when it becomes an idol. Follow what I'm saying? I can want it to be gone, but even if it's not gone, I'm still choosing to feel peace. I can want my mama to change. Even if she don't change, I'm still going to give myself peace. It doesn't become an idol until my peace is dependent on it.
Until it gets in the way of your worship of God.
Until it gets, which is exactly what an idol would be. You know, I could be thinking about God, truth, love, but I'm busy thinking about my father didn't come to my recital when I was in the 4th grade, and that's why I don't have any relationships at work even today. That's the way we play it. Woo! My God. Sometimes, I've had to remind my own children in my life, hey, guess what? What? I'm a person.
That's right.
I used to upset people. Boy. I was a challenge as a father in a way because I would reply this stuff, so it would be sort of like, I'm ready for any solution that all of us win. I'm not open to a solution that you get what you want and I don't get what I want too. We all must win. We all must benefit. And that trips people out because that's the one thing we don't know how to do. We don't know how to share. We know how to do everything but that according to the Course. So y'all just forgot how to share. That's it. And I'm talking about share ideas. Because ideas are the one thing you can give away completely and still keep. That's why you know it's real. He says, anything that's real, when you share it, you still have it. So if I shared the idea of us going to the movie, for example, right? And you say, okay, I accept that idea. Let's go to the movie. Now you got the idea too, but I still got the idea too. But it's increasing because now both of us have it. So anything real, whenever you give it, you always feel like it's been an increase. Anything that you give that's not real, whenever you give it, you feel like you've lost something. That's how easy the Course so you can tell the difference between what's real and what's not. Whew. The father that works 70 hours a week to feed his family because he wants to is not sacrificing. The father who's going to work 70 hours a week to feed his family and he's resented, but he thinks he's got to make his sacrifice, that's resentment. And then they wonder why they get smacked across the room. You smack somebody across the room too. You at work, got some people work to come home. They mad, they feel powerless. So where are they going to get their power back? Through ruling their own personal kingdom and everything in it. Balance comes from a sense of powerlessness, not from a sense of having any power. It comes from feeling like you don't have no power. So if you don't want to have balance in your relationship, you empower each other. Two strong people in a relationship are not going to be fighting, but two weak ones will be battling all the time, trying to see who's the strongest. You mean me and my partner could have less arguments if I just said, damn, you're gorgeous, and I mean it? Slow course is dead, isn't it? It's the longest 30 minutes in the history of time. What? Only 30 minutes to pass by? I'll turn around and count to 10. You can go. So how do you get rid of things that you don't want to have in your life? Then you stop worshiping it, is what he said. The truth is, you were created whole and complete, and there's nothing missing in you, and your God is the belief that there's something wrong with you, and he said you will believe that more than the truth. Whew!
Or it's just plain useless.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just guess what? There's a payoff in that too, because if I'm useless, I don't need to do nothing.
Yeah.
If I'm useless, I don't need to do nothing.
Not you,
No, I'm not talking about what you said. I'm saying that if a person thinks that they're useless, that's an excuse, that's a great excuse not to do it. And see, if you're worthless and pitiful, it's the best lazy person's excuse ever created is all the problems we have that's so intense we can't get nothing done. We just lazy. Because if everything was cool, I'd have to produce, I'd have to create, I'd have to be doing something, I'd have to be expressing. But if I always got problems, and I'm overcoming all black, that's why I'm so black. Then I ain't got to do nothing. I was like, the Holy Spirit's so funny, the inner voice in my mind, you know, it's like, oh, I got the answer, what is it, Holy Spirit? You lazy. I am lazy about doing everything I don't want to do. I admit it. I'm totally lazy about doing what I don't want to do. But I got a lot of energy to do what I really want to do. So I try to arrange my life that I'm doing what I really want to do as much as possible. That's been my goal for the last 40 years. To work it out so that one day in my life, I would be doing what I wanted to do all day, and it would be exactly what I wanted to do all day. And that's what's been happening for 25 years now. But I'm ready to step it up. I got to step it up now. So now I got to be willing to let even more love come in. So now I'm being stretched. I'm at my upper limit right now. It's like I'm at the upper limit of what I can take out of anything good right now. I'm just like hitting the top of it. So I can't let that be the God that I'm worshiping. It's my upper limit. Says when you feel afraid to love, the way that you handle that, when you want to go past your upper limit, Spirit said you got to just open your heart up more. That's just the opposite of what I'm inclined to do. I think I need to shut down. What? Open up more? Yeah, open up more. Because the problem is there because you're not loving enough. That fear comes through the gaps between love. The problem in the drama has to come through the hole, right? It's got to get in. And the Course says it calls it gaps in your love. Like everywhere there's a gap in your love is where you're getting your butt kicked. And if you're getting your butt kicked one way or another all day long, you're living in the gap. You've taken up residence in the gap. You are the gap guard. What do you mean? You just always miserable. You live in the gap. You made a house in the gap. You got a garden in the backyard of the house in the gap. I said, that's deep, Holy Spirit. That's deep. You mean I'm so used to being in fear that now I think it's normal? Yes, Earl, you're so used to being afraid that you've forgotten what love is even like now. So when someone tells you what love is like, you think they're selling you a bill of goods. That's how much you forgot it wasn't real. That even when you hear about it, you get suspicious. Woo! The Course in Miracles says To some people who will come to this class, I'm like the devil in the cloak of an angel. And you know why he said that people would see me as the deceiver and the devil? He says, because I would be telling them that they're innocent. I went, that's deep. The Course in Miracles says, you want people to really be suspicious of you, Earl? Tell them they've never sinned. Tell them they're totally innocent. Tell them they're loved no matter what. And you will become a frightening deceiver.
That's right.
That's why original sin has such traction in the first place. It's easy to believe that we were born sinners.
Yeah. That's so. You're right. It would be easy to believe we were born in sin. You see how we treat each other? Damn right.
Yes. Yeah.
The Course in Miracles says something like, you're in a world where people get blown to smithereens. Would you like to be in another kind without dying? And I went, woo, I hadn't even considered that. I had been trying to figure out how I could make sure I wasn't blown up. It never dawned on me that I could just be where the bones weren't.
Yes. Right.
And how do you know we're way ahead of the game? How do you know that we are soaring in our spiritual awareness? I'll tell you how. The way you can know it is because you created such a safe environment in this world that you can ponder what I'm saying.
That's good.
Right.
Think about that. You have created such an incredible reality that you can come here, sit in a chair, and decide about the truth of what I'm saying. If you were truly on a battlefield, this wouldn't be happening. So you are already powerful beings who have already created an unbelievable level of peace and safety for yourselves. So much so, we can sit around and analyze things. If the house is on fire, and you've been trying to get out, and the fireman comes in, I bet you $1 million you wouldn't be asking him how the fire got started. When you get out of the fire, across the street, then you may say, I wonder if that joint I left. This is Colorado, of course. Just for research purposes, I'm going down to the Civic Center later on today. So a person that's really ready for a change, they're not arguing with you about it. They just want to know how to do it. So when you have time to analyze a whole lot, that's really a sign you created a very safe experience for yourself, and you should be proud of yourself for loving yourself enough to create a reality that you can come into just to decide what you want to believe. We are awesome.
Right.
We are awesome.
We're sacred.
And we're sacred. And the Course says holy. I had a hard time with holy.
Wholesome.
You know, because my religious upbringing and holy, I would make holy mean, you know, like you was just somewhere, I don't know. But now I'm cool with holy. You can hold me all day long. I'm all right with holy. I think holy has a nice ring to it. Holy. 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 See, you got to put a little juice to it, though, right? You know, if you really want to have it. Holy. I say I'm holy. Holy. I am holy. What? Holy. I am holy. Holy. I am. Now, what do you think affects your consciousness more? Saying it like this? I am holy. Or going, I am holy. Holy. I am holy. Holy. See, I got to be proactive in my remembering. got to get my body involved. I got to get my juices flowing. You got to get your body involved, not just your intellect. Even though I know you have incredible heads on you.
Thank you.
So before I go to the next part, anybody got a question, a comment? Anybody just want to tell me I'm just full of crap?
I hope not.
It's okay, because it's important to be able to say all your feelings. Yeah.
Would like to hear a little bit more about how to face those fears.
That's all I've been talking about.
Yeah, I'm ready.
It's the way you face those fears is to stop worshiping them and recognize them when you see them, and then choose for the truth about yourself. You know, like he said, you know, the way you get past the fear is to realize you are still as God created you, which means that no matter what you think about yourself, you really can't change that beautiful, whole, complete being that you are. Because the fear comes from believing that I could lose in some kind of way. So if I could realize I couldn't lose, my fear would be gone. So the way that I get rid of the fear is to still remember I'm still the love that I was created to be, the infinite being I was created to be, and that nothing about me can be changed by anything I do or man does. Because you didn't create me, I didn't create you, and that's you believing that you can change what you are. Is like baking a cake and then thinking that the cake can change what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's the baker who made the cake. The cake didn't make itself. So you can't change yourself anyway. And the Course in Miracles is teaching us that we are right about the thing that we have feared, which is that we haven't changed. And that's exactly what he's teaching. You're right. You haven't changed. You're still powerful. You're still loved. You're still loving. You're still free. Now, you don't think you are, and so you're not creating a reality that reflects that, but you haven't changed what you are. So if you can recognize that there's nothing you can do that can change what you really are, then you stop taking your fears so seriously, then you won't be worshiping them, and so then the fear goes away because you're not giving any power to it anymore, right? And then the thing that the fear was creating goes away, because the fear that made it is gone. See, if my fear makes relationships that create pain for me, and I no longer have the fear because I'm recognizing the love that I am, then the fear that made the fearful relationship is no longer there, so the fearful relationship will be gone too. So instead of trying to deal with your many different fears and problems, the Course in Miracles says what you do is reduce it to one problem, and if you just say you have one problem, your problems will be solved, but as long as you say you have a lot of problems, they can't be solved. And I read that and I went, what?
Right.
What? That's what it says. It says as long as you keep seeing it as if you have a lot of problems, your problems can't be solved, because that means you don't recognize that you just have one problem. So it said if I wanted to have my problem solved, I had to just start saying I have one problem, even if I didn't know what the problem was, just say you got one. And so I learned a long time ago with the Course, I go, okay, that don't make no sense to my ego, but I'm going to go ahead and do it because he said I didn't have to believe it, I didn't have to accept it, I didn't have to welcome it. That was what the rules were. Okay, so I don't believe that, but I'm going to say it. So I would go, I have one problem. I just have one problem. I know it looks like it's 2 or 3 problems. I just have one problem. I know it looks like it's 4 or 5 problems. A problem at work, a problem with my money, a problem with my car, a problem with my breath. I know it looks like there's a whole lot of problems, but I'm going to say there is only one problem. And when I would do that, the weirdest things started to happen. The problems started to solve themselves. It looked like they started to take care of themselves. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
I agree.
So I found out after a while that the most challenging part about the Course in Miracles was my willingness to go ahead and do what it was saying, even if I didn't understand it. That was what took all my spiritual strength, was to get to the point that if I was told to do something, all I had to do was say it anyway. Just go ahead and say it. And I went, just say it? Yeah, just say it. Say you have one problem. I have one problem.
I have one problem.
Okay, now, for my ego that freaks out because it looks like it has a lot of problems, then the way you cover that part is to say it this way. I have one problem, but it looks like it's taking the form of my financial situation, my job situation, my health. You see what I'm saying? I have one problem, but it looks like it's taking the form of the relationship that I'm having with my father that's upsetting me right now. But start out with, I have one problem. And do you know what that one problem is? What is it?
Not seeing yourself as innocent. and
Not
perfect.
seeing yourself as innocent and whole, like it was saying. And seeing yourself, he says, is separate from God, separate from love. Seeing yourself is not connected to source. Seeing yourself is not connected to everything around you. He says every problem you think you have comes from your belief that you're separate and different from everybody around you. That's what's creating any problem you perceive in your life. It's coming from the idea that you're different from everything you're looking at.
Right. That's what happened in Boston.
That's what happens in any situation where there's attack. There's someone seeing the other person as different from them.
Right.
And they feel justified in attacking.
Right.
Just like the police would feel justified in shooting him, right?
Right.
And we all agreed with that, right? Because we
Right.
felt it was justified.
Right.
Well, it's hard for us to, and I'm not saying there's any justification for any violence, so don't get me wrong. I'm just using an example. From his perspective, we were dangerous
That's right.
and needed to be destroyed for him to feel safe.
Right.
Which is, we think he needs to be destroyed for us to feel safe. So the truth is, we both believe that attack is the solution.
Yeah.
And so we keep creating more attack. And then people say, well, if you don't, people are just going to run all over you. If you really expect attack to ever leave your life, you've got to stop. I'm sorry.
I agree.
We can make as many justifications on the individual level as well as a national level, but if you want to have no attack in your experience, there must be none in your own consciousness. And there won't be any in your consciousness unless you're worshiping it and thinking you have to do it by yourself and not with the help of your higher self, your divine guidance, spirit, or God. Nothing that I'm suggesting to this group has anything to do with us doing it without source, us doing it without the creator, us doing it without that which created us. You can't do it alone. You can't do it by yourself. You'll never get rid of attack by yourself. You'll never get rid of anything that's bothering you without the help of source, that which created you. Love. And so the Course says we are educated to believe that we must be totally autonomous and self-sufficient and not reach out to anything greater than ourselves as a sign of our adulthood, our maturity. So adults set it up where they have to struggle because they don't believe that they could really be helped in what they're doing, because they have to do it all on their own. To be a capable adult, you got to do it all on your own. To be a capable adult, you got to do it all on your own. So we set it up that we struggle, because we set it up that we got to do it all on our own. And you'll even hear that. Like I was hearing that a lot during the election. Constantly I was hearing politicians say, well, you just got to do it by yourself. I'm a self-made man. I did it on my own. You made the shoes you're wearing, the dress you're wearing, the car you're driving, the house. You did all of that by yourself, huh? Crap! We don't do a darn thing alone. Nothing. I didn't make this iPad. I didn't make this book. I didn't make this sweater. I didn't make this microphone. I'm doing nothing up here alone. So the Course says, well, I'm going to give you a radical concept, Purdy. What? Ask. What? Ask for help.
Right on.
It was such a way out idea, because I had learned to think that asking was taking. So that every time I asked somebody for something, there's a part of me that said I was taking something from them. So I associated asking with taking, so I never wanted to ask for anything. And the Course says, no, giving is asking. So if anything that you want to ask the universe of, then you give it, and that's the same as asking for it, because giving and receiving is the same. So whatever I want, then I need to be the first one to share that idea. So I want peace, I want love, I don't want to get sick, I want health, I want to know completion, I want to know perfection. So what am I doing? From the time this class started to the time this class ends, I'm sharing the idea that that's what you deserve and that's what you are, because that's how you have anything. You give it. So what does that mean? Well, that means whether somebody was listening to me or not listening to me, being conscious or not being conscious, going to sleep or not going to sleep, come back or don't come back, I had an opportunity for an hour to share an idea that I want to see stronger in myself, and also an idea that other people who wanted to hear it wanted to also use too. So the truth is, you never lose when you share the truth, because you're always the one that is coming through, and so it's going to have an effect on you first.
Amen.
Yes.
This stuff works.
Yes.
It really, really works. If you were to walk out here today and say, I'm going to say to people the rest of the day what I'd like to believe about myself, it'll radically change the whole rest of the day. And not only that, you will see people respond to you in a way you may have never seen them respond to you before, in terms of having a cool time with them. So I'm sorry, you come to my freaking class, I'm gonna tell you you're loving and you're lovable and you're talented and you're not alone and you deserve to be happy. I don't care if you never come back. That's the truth I'm gonna tell you about you. If that makes you feel suspicious, then that's okay. That's a good sign. So would you acknowledge yourself, please, for hearing another episode of
As the Black Man Ranks.
very powerful play. So we're gonna do the financial expression of appreciation now. I'm a full-time teacher of the Course in Miracles. Thank you for sharing with me. Do it on a financial expression basis so that people can come regardless of their financial situation. But that does not mean that I don't like to have lots of money. That's right. I deserve to receive for what I do, and you deserve to receive for what you do. That's the way it actually and truly is. For real. Those of you on the internet, thank you so much online for watching. And also, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, you can go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com. And I'm also doing clarity sessions, which are one-on-one sessions where I work with people with the issues that they have that they're ready to get past now. And that's available. And I'm also available for personal tutoring and coaching with the Course in Miracles. If you've been really wanting to get into the Course, and you've said to yourself over and over again, it's just too hard to read. I don't understand it, but I really would like to get into the Course. You should consider having a session with me where I can show you the benefits of over 30 years of working with it to make it a lot easier to benefit from the Course a lot faster. So you don't have to feel like the language is the problem. You can get past that. So I'm also making other people aware of that online also. Yeah. Want to invite you to come here to check out the 11 o'clock service on Sunday mornings too. It's a cool, wonderful church.
Can I say one?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you do give 110% in all of your classes. Thank you, Earl.
Yes.
Thank you for your correct perception. I appreciate that. Thank you. I know what it feels like to feel like you're trying to give your best and not seem like it's appreciated. So thank you for saying that to me. I appreciate that so much.
He does the same thing when he speaks here on Sunday mornings. He spoke last week. I don't know how many of you were able to come, but he gave a great message, and he speaks the last Sunday of May. Next Sunday, the 27th, is our movie of the month. It's Ram Dass, Fierce Grace. If you have seen that, it's absolutely amazing. It'll blow your mind. Fierce Grace with Ram Dass. And it'll be at Iva Lou's house, a block away. The address is in our bulletins. Thanks, guys.
You're
I
welcome.
love you. I bless you all.
You're welcome. Tuesday night we have a class that I do called The Way of Mastery at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. All right. I also want to invite you all to a special treat. I'm going to Chicago to speak at an International Course in Miracles conference next weekend, and then right from there, I will come back today, then I'm going to be going to London to speak, and England. And so Anna Kajal is going to cover the Sunday night Course in Miracles, Sunday Course in Miracles class. Anna and I have known each other for almost 30 years. She's an incredible Course in Miracles teacher. So if you are open to receiving it in different ways and new ways, because everybody can benefit, you come check out Anna doing the Course in Miracles class. It'll come from me on Sundays. And the next 2 Sundays, and then I'm having Joyce Schultz is on the 12th, which is another very powerful Course in Miracles teacher who also specializes in Byron Katie's work also. So that's a very powerful combination of those. So I'm leaving you in great hands while I'm going doing whatever it is the Holy Spirit wants me to do, you know. And I'm going to be surrounding you with all kinds of love and all kinds of light that I can possibly think of. So no matter what we are worshiping, I'm going to be focusing in on the truth about us. So that'll be the next 3 Sundays. I'll be back. I'll be here this Tuesday night for the mastery class, and then I'll be going to the 16th of May. Yes. I'm looking forward to seeing what adventures await me. Absolutely. Okay, so let's do a real quick review of what we heard today that we can take with us, if that's okay. Now, what I'd like for you to do is just take a minute to close your eyes, and it's okay to relax and just let yourself hear. So what can I walk away from today? What can I walk away from here with today? Well, I need to remind myself that if I'm whole and complete, which is perfect, and that there's nothing missing in me, then the way that I see myself that's opposite to that is not true. If your Creator created you perfect, you are perfect. If your Creator created you perfect, you are perfect. That means that you are whole. That means that you are complete. It means that there are no missing parts to you. You are not broke. You don't need fixing. 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 Now, what do I mean when I say that? What do I mean when I say that? It means who you really are. It's whole and complete. The only thing that's broken is your perception of yourself. The only thing that's broken is your perception of yourself. So ask for the correct perception. Ask for the correct perception. Say, I want the correct perception. Ask for the correct perception. Ask for the correct perception. Say, I want a correct perception. I want a correct perception. I want a correct perception. Now, you know that people in your life that you need a new perception with. You know the situations in your life that you need another perception of. You know the circumstances in your life that you know you like to see differently. This is an opportunity to ask Spirit, to ask your greater self, say, I want another way of looking at this. 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 I want another way of looking at them. 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 Now here's the biggest one. I want another way. I want another way of looking at myself. 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 I want another way of looking at my life. I want another way of looking at my life. I want another way of looking at my life. I want another way of looking at things. I want another way of looking at things. I want another way of looking at things. So, take the gods that you put before God. The God of worry, the God of insecurity, the God of lack, sickness, putting myself down. That's the idol. Let's put that idol down. How do you do it? You focus on what you want to experience more of. The Course in Miracles says there are two terms, two words that you want to say to yourself. And I'm going to say it for about a minute and we'll be finished. You don't even have to say it if you don't want to. How easy can it get? You are loving. You are lovable. You are loving. And you are lovable.
Here's another comedy discipline you might want to add to your comedy tool belt. Discipline number 25, the sprint.
The sprint. Acknowledge y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming out, Holy Spirit. Don't worship the negative thoughts about yourself. That's your call for love. You're innocent. Hugs are available. I love hugs. So anybody don't mind giving one to receive one, great. Have a great week.
That's how you know it's real.